Vincenzo's Go Crypto Investing this October the 1st, spooky October the 1st, 2025, approaching the middle month of meteorological autumn, if you can believe this already, and a gorgeous, sunny, not a cloud in the sky, couple of whispery cirrus clouds just north of downtown Detroit in the great state of Michigan, with a current official temperature of a nice crisp 66 degrees. Jay, from inside the mobile studio, we are here to become asset millionaires via steady investing, education and information on asset inflation in a dollar depreciating world. And that's what you're here for. And the silver bullion, that's right, the silver bullion is sitting at $47.50, and 50 cents, and that is the futures, but the spot price is sitting at $47.40. And look at that. Can you believe that, ladies and gentlemen? Look how close we are. We are within single percentile in dollar amounts from breaking and tying and reaching our all-time high set back in 2011 and way back, way back in 1980, just 2.65% away, or about $1.25 shy of the all-time high at current price. And you can see if we go back out in the weekly time frame and even back out into the monthly time frame, you can see where we're at. We have massive targets. Our end game target of this bull market is $746, and I'll explain how we get there in a second. $200 is our medium range target. $50 was our now target that we made back in 2020. And then $75 to $100 is our target for the next 12 months. And this was all laid out based on the chart and based on monetary and fiscal policy and all the inflation that's been created over the last 30, 35 years since the last time the silver bullion was up there. But you can see some of the key things that caused massive pumps and manipulation throughout the history of the silver bullion price. And we're going to make these things a lot smaller so they're not standing out. And you can see in the late 1970s, leading into the 1980 hype cycle and the blow off top, the Hunt brothers were buying the physical silver bullion in order to create a short squeeze to jack the price up because there wasn't any physical bullion to cover the paper contracts. Thus, the price of silver went up 944% during the 1979 and 1980 end part of the massive bull market that started in the beginning of 1970. And you can see where that bull market started in 1970 from the guns and butter economy in the 60s and 50s, where the government was starting massive government programs that never existed before, and the price of silver bullion went up 3,000 3,666%. That's just what the percentage is from top to bottom. I can't. So it's a 36 times itself, the price of silver bullion over the price of 8 years, right? And then after that, the big banks, after the Hunt brothers helped jack it and finish the last 8 to 10x of that pump, during and after that, big banks started hammering at the top papers. They were taking puts. They were buying it in the paper market. And then JP Morgan in the 1990 and 2000 uh, had massive short positions that they were starting to unload finally, and they were making bank, right? And then you can see there's been a lot of silver manipulation. There was a silver crash due to the shortage, shorting of paper silver back in 2008 and 2009, coinciding with the financial crash, 58% silver flush. Then you had a massive pump, 2007 all-time high of 50. Then COMEX hiked the margin rates drastically, and it helped crash the price of silver because everybody was getting out of their paper contracts on margin. And along the way with that, major banks around the world, including Deutsche Bank, was the benchmark for precious metal price manipulation, right? Because they need to have the price of silver down. And you can see we've been thinking ever since then, when we came on board, that the price of silver was going to have a massive run, and we've been extremely bullish ever since we came on here in April of 2020. And you can see when we were sitting here and made our first video just after the COVID dump. You can see there's the COVID dump right there that everybody got scared about. We made our first few videos in April and May of 2020, and we said the price of silver bullion, our first target was 59,650 or 50 $49.50, tying the all-time high from 2011 and 1980. And we were going to break out of a massive 3-decade long cup and handle that you can see here, where you come up, you have the massive cup, your mountain double top, then you have your handle, and then your breakout, right? And we said that's where we were going. Now we're just about to hit that neckline resistance again of this cup and handle. And as soon as we break that and clear the $50, there's going to be a massive pump, just like the price of gold bullion did. If we look at gold bullion, it did the same thing. You see that we had the same technical analysis that the cup and handle was in right here, and this one was a 10-year long. And we made this call back in 2022, right there in that purple circle. And we had or get out of there, the $2,000 neckline. And then we were going to break it. And you can see our target's been here ever since. This thing's been here for 5 years. And we had an 83% from the breakout, $3,500. And you can see we've actually exceeded that target, now on our way to 4,000. And our ultimate target next is 5,000 and eventually 10,000. But you can see the gold bullion hit it. Silver bullion's got to make up for that. In order for silver bullion to make up for that, the price of silver bullion is going to have to get up and break out of this formation. And when it does, in order for it to be at the same level in the chart as gold bullion, it's going to have to be at about $100. And that's why our target of $75 to $100 during 2026 will happen. And then late 2026 through 2027, that's when I think the final end of this target will hit near $200 uh, for a price an ounce for silver bullion. And I absolutely do believe that's happening. Um, and it's going to get there, just as it started way down here. Look how far down this price was when we started buying silver bullion, and when we started talking about silver bullion on this channel together. It's up 184% or $31 an ounce. You heard that right. $31 an ounce, the silver bullion. And that's what you're here for. It's free to hit that subscription button. This is just more. That's why it's a gold crypto investing. The reason this channel is here is to become asset millionaires. And we're here to do it together. I'm not a financial advisor. I would never, I repeat that, never tell you to buy or sell anything. I am just sharing my own personal experiences, opinions, and what I am actually doing for myself. And if you would like to join for free, hit that subscribe button and follow along and participate and get educated on asset appreciation because of dollar depreciation in an inflationary environment, and how to protect your wealth, how to protect your retirement, and how to get into the asset millionaire club that you must be in order to have a at least a middle class living that is dying or dead, because you have to have at least $1 million net worth with no debt. And the key is no debt. You can't, then, and the key to that is the more money you make, do not increase the standard of living. If you get a $50,000 increase in job, do not go buy a new car. Stay the same course. Don't buy a new phone. Don't buy a new car. Don't go buy a new house. Pay off all the debt, keep the standard of living that you were living when you were making $50,000 less. And that extra money that's there at the end of the month due to the increase in income, put it in investments. If you don't know what to invest in, just put it all into your 401k. It's tax deferred, even if you go over the 24 grand. Tax deferred, keep shoving it in there or open up a personal IRA, because save it, invest it. It's better than upping your standard of living or lifestyle to meet your new increase in income, because you're going to be just as poor as you were making 50 if you were making 150, if you always ramp up what you're doing every time you get a little bit of an increase in pay. It's about getting more income but not upping your standard of living. That's the way to get to the asset millionaire club the quickest, right? And if you look at the Bitcoin price while we're all here, it's been on the move, and I've been talking too much, but I feel that you can't just talk about the price every day. No one's going to get any information and education, because it's about the mindset. The mindset has to be the acquiring of of assets, right? So you have to have a well-rounded education on things that you're doing. Jesus Christ. Yeah. So they didn't tell me how much they wanted. They just said floor dry. So I put 4 bags. If they want 50 fucking bags, they can write 50 fucking bags. Well, that would have been nice to know, right? All it said was floor dry. So if I have to guess, I'm not going to guess 20 when they only needed 5 because those fucking bags weigh 50 pounds. They could fuck off. Maybe they should write it down what they need. I will add more when I get off of lunch, but they're short because it doesn't say a number. So I said 4, heavy enough. I don't feel like carrying these, you know? Like, fuck them, dude. They don't do their job. They can fuck off. I'm not going to guess for them. I'm not, you know what I mean? They're fucking heavy. But when I get off lunch, I'll throw more in there. Oh, well, where you want me to throw them? Inside your truck? Just leave it up, leave it open. I'll shut it after. Put them in the dump bin. They ain't gonna fly out of there. Yeah, because when are you leaving tomorrow morning? All right, because there might be something showing up today that I have to throw in there. No. Yeah, because it's lunchtime. Fuck that. Sorry about that. I didn't want to turn the video off because it's gonna take. I didn't want to turn the video off because it's gonna take too long to upload. But as you can see here, the Bitcoin price. What we're talking about here is it's sitting just below the 3.5 year rising channel support that we have here. And you can see it's drastically on the big pump today. It pumped extremely well. And this is something that we were talking about that it could potentially do where where we were sitting down here the last couple of days, where are we going to pump up and try to retest this major upper resistance in the 3.5 year pattern support. And if we were going to do that, we were going to do it by holding along and above the 200-day moving average, which made sense where we were at because this was an area that was the last support. So that'd be an area that you would look for it to hold. And right now we've had that 3.29%, $3,700 move back to 115,000. And we're coming up against now what we were talking about yesterday and the day before and the day before. What happens when we come up to this major upper resistance? Do we A, shoot back into there and shoot the gap? God, and shoot the gap up into here and establish itself back into this channel and then create a new all-time high? Or is it going to get rejected and we're going to have a harsh, and this is when you would now. You've had you come through, came back up it, got rejected, shooting back up into it now. Now, this, if you get rejected here, this would be on this fall, on this drop, on this move, on this push, where you would come all the way down to $95,703 and 37 cents, and you would breach. You would have a temporary bounce, but you would breach this 106,000 and change, and you would have a big flush down to the 95,000, right? So that's what we're looking at over the next week or so with the Bitcoin price, right? Then if we go look at the Ethereum price, it's the same thing. We got that bounce off the 100-day moving average, something that we thought we would do if we broke it when we were talking about it the whole time up here as it was triple topping. Now we got back on top of the neckline support, and now we've skyrocketed through with a 4.5% move today, or 187.40 over the 50-day moving average in the short term. And that's what we were talking about. Now what we got to watch is, can you get through all this resistance and create a new all-time high and be off to the races? Or are you going to start to come back down and get resisted, right? And you're going to end up back on the 50-day and the neckline support. So if you can stay on top of the 50 and the neckline support, obviously you're going to make a run at $5,000 and a new all-time high. If you slip the neckline support again, you've just taken out a lot of buyers here. This would be where you would have a brief support here, and where how you would end up and getting down to the 34.82 if you ended up slipping and coming back south. So that's what we have to watch for the Ethereum price because it's very critical. The XLM price, I got to move this along, or the XRP price is the same thing. We bounced just above the 200-day moving average. We're just above the 50 now. And like we were talking about the last few days, we have to get above the 50 first, which we have. And now we have to get back above the 307 and maintain and hold it. If we do that, that's how we get extremely bullish and excited and try to make a pump to the 366 regional swing high. The bearish sentiment with the XRP would be not being able to get back above that area and ending up back on the 255 because that would be a critical support underneath in the short term, major critical, major support level on the underneath, right? So that's something we're paying attention for in the XRP. And then something that I wanted to show you here very quickly that I have for you is things that are critical. Something with the XRP and Swift, right? The XRP Swift deal buzz. What's that all about? The global interbank messaging network has recently announced plans to integrate a blockchain-based shared ledger to monetize cross-border payment infrastructure. More than 30 major banks are reportedly involved in testing the new system. Some of the crypto space has long hoped XRP and Ripple infrastructure would be the natural backbone or replacement for Swift legacy rails. However, Swift appears to have opted for Ethereum layer 2 solution, specifically Lini or whatever that is, built by Consensus uh, for the pilot rather than choosing XRP Ledger or using XRP as a settlement token. What it does or could it do for XRP? XRP existing strength remains fast settlement time, seconds, low fees, and technology forced for cross-border liquidity. Rather than being foundational layer Swift adopts, XRP might instead become one of many liquidity or bridge assets with a broader shared ledger ecosystem. The shift signals that future uh, compensation and payments will be less about outright replacement and more about uh, commingling between systems, XRPL, stablecoin, CBDCs, private blockchains. XRP use case may need to evolve or double down towards niche, high volume, cross border liquidity, consider rather than trying to be global default. So that's a big hit from what a lot of the XRP army and believers and investors want it to be that. They think it's going to be uh, that the asset that bridges the gap between all the central banks and financial systems, right? So this one at least doesn't seem to be going that way. Bottom line, there's no verified XRP Swift deal yet. What we do know is Swift is moving towards blockchain enabled infrastructure and it's choosing to test with Ethereum L2 solutions over adopting XRP L as its fundamental. XRP is still likely less of a knockout blow and more of a reset. It's still very big news. And the last thing I want to end out with is percentage of people out of debt and how they become millionaires. 61% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 56% cannot cover a $1,000 emergency without borrowing or selling something. Around 77% carry some form of debt, most commonly credit card, car loans, or student debt. The median U.S. house net worth, all households, is about 192,000. Federal Reserve 2023. Let me repeat that. 77% of Americans carry some form of debt. 56% cannot cover a $1,000 emergency. 61% live paycheck to paycheck. And most importantly, U.S. household net worth, median U.S. household net worth, meaning the average and the middle of the average, is only 192,000. Source Federal Reserve 2023 survey. That's incredible and incredibly sad. You want to be part of the 23% that carry no debt. You want to be part of the 44% that can cover a $1,000 emergency fund, and you want to be part of the 49% that do not live paycheck to paycheck, right? You want to be that part. You want to be the oddball. You don't want to be normal. And when we're talking about personal finances and savings and income, you want to be abnormal. You want to be the oddball, right? How long does it take to meet $1 million net worth? And that's the reason most people don't meet $1 million net worth because they are savagely weighed down by debt, bad debt, hard debt, impulse buying, overbuying houses, student loans, all kinds of nonsense, right? They have no willpower or control, self-control. Uh, Average saver, if we're using $75,000, which is the median income, right, for a single person, and saves 10% and it gets a 6% annual return, and that's all they have for investing, it would take 35 to 40 years if they don't have any other investing. Aggressive saver, 20 to 25%, moderate high income, 7% return, 20 to 25 years. High earners, top 10% income a year, 200K plus income, saving 30 plus percent, 10 to 15 years to have a net worth of $1 million, right? Median US household wealth trajectory, most never, I repeat, most never, I can only repeat this because it's so important, most never reach $1 million net worth, only about 12%. That's right. Sadly, 88% of the US population does not ever become an asset millionaire or a millionaire at all. Only 12% of US households have a net worth above $1 million. Big picture, Vincenzo's gold crypto investing says stay out of debt, increase your income while maintaining your current standard of living and saving and investing. The increase in income, you do not increase your lifestyle. That is how you stay poor. That is how you stay in debt. And Vincenzo's keys to becoming an asset millionaire are understanding monetary and fiscal policy, understanding interest rates, understanding what, how, and the cause and who creates inflation and what asset inflation because of dollar devaluation and dollar devaluation and currency inflation is. Staying out of debt, living below your means, having a steady income and increasing your income, and investing in asset appreciating things will make you an asset millionaire. Peace and love. The Rock's Eyebrow, Jay.